So Nintendo has confirmed their E3 plans for this year, and that Smash Bros. Will be the big focus for the event. This doesn't really come as a surprise to me, because anybody who would even think about what's going to be the focus of E3 would immediately probably point to Smash Bros. But yeah, Smash is the focus, that's great. But what specifically is going to be talked about for this? Well, in this video I'm going to try to give you an idea of what we could expect from this time that it's going to be getting during the E3 conference. So Nintendo is doing the video format again this year, and last year's was around 25 to 30 minutes long, so we could probably be expecting a similar length for this one. And while last year's E3 presentation wasn't regarded as one of the greatest, it was still decent, I have to admit that. They went in that quick rapid fire style that we've seen in recent Nintendo Directs, covering a bunch of different topics, but not providing too much depth on any specific one, other than Mario Odyssey probably. But because they're pointing out that there's going to be this big focus on Smash Bros., we could expect that it would probably take up close to 10 minutes of this time. Maybe not that much, considering that they have 3 days of Nintendo Treehouse gameplay planned, and they could be providing us with loads of Smash gameplay in that. We'll just have to see how this turns out. The point that I'm trying to make here is that because there's a lot of time, there's a lot of things that we could expect to be revealed about Smash Bros. Here. On this mainstream platform that E3 is, it's the perfect opportunity to tout how many great new features and characters that you're going to have in this brand new huge game release for the Nintendo Switch. I honestly didn't really expect Smash to be announced back in the March Nintendo Direct because it seemed too close to a reveal to release period, having the game come out in 2018. So we could normally expect the game to come out around November or something like that. That only leaves for about half a year for them to promote this game and reveal everything that's going to be in it. So they're going to probably have to focus all their efforts to make this big reveal as huge as it could possibly be, to get all this information out there so that the people could know what they're going to be buying when it comes to the release date of Smash on Switch. The first and main thing that we can expect to be revealed are new characters. I can almost guarantee you that we're going to be seeing a ton of new characters and maybe some big changes to the roster as well, possibly removing of some characters and updated movesets for older characters, such as how Link's moveset will probably be changed to suit the Breath of the Wild mechanics that were introduced in the latest Zelda game. And the big reason that we're going to be guaranteed to see this is because of the Invitational, where people are going to be actually competing in Super Smash Bros., so you're going to want to provide them with as many character choices as possible. They're probably not going to reveal every single character. They could probably do that in the coming months up to the release of Super Smash Bros., maybe save 3 or 4 more, one for each month up to the release, but there's definitely going to be a bunch of new ones here. I've made an entire video listing the 10 characters I would like most, but there could probably be some choices that are normally expected to be coming into Super Smash Bros. We already have Inklings, which was the most anticipated and most likely character in my opinion to be coming out for it. Obviously Springman is another front runner for being included in Super Smash Bros. A new Pokemon, whatever one that ends up being, it depends on whether or not a brand new Pokemon game is announced in the E3 press conference, so we'll have to determine whether or not it would be a Gen 8 Pokemon or they'll go back to a previous generation of Pokemon and implement one of those into the game. We could also see some third-party characters come into the game, and I haven't really talked about that too much in video form on this channel yet, so I'll go over it right now. You can never necessarily call a third-party character very likely to be coming into Super Smash Bros. Just because of how much licensing is involved and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to say that Shovel Knight is a front-runner to come into the game, just because how Shovel Knight is the king of indies, but you never know. The relationship between Nintendo and Yacht Club Games seems pretty strong, but it could have been diminished over the years. You just never know if that's going to happen. One thing supporting Shovel Knight coming into Super Smash Bros. Is the fact that he actually has an amiibo, so you would be able to use that, in assuming that Nintendo would carry over the amiibo functionality from Smash 4 into this Smash release. Nintendo's partnership with Ubisoft has also been pretty good recently. With the release of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Nintendo sort of gave the reins to Ubisoft for them to create the game that they wished, so maybe a character that Ubisoft created would be included. I can't really see Rabbids being included just because they're not really mainstream enough to be included with the class of amazing third-party editions that we have in Smash Bros., such as Pac-Man and Sonic and Mega Man and so on. I mean, when you put it like that, very little third-party characters could be included. But no, I honestly think that Rayman would be a great addition to put into this game. There are so many possibilities for a Rayman moveset, and he's a fairly iconic third-party character, so I think that he would fit in really nice with the rest of the Smash Bros. Roster. Crash Bandicoot is also a possibility because they're putting that trilogy on the Nintendo Switch, another big third-party icon. Possibly put Spyro in because the Skylanders games have been on Nintendo platforms before, and they're remastering that trilogy. Not necessarily confirmed for the Nintendo Switch just yet, however I would assume that that would be revealed at E3. It'd be very surprising to me if the Crash Bandicoot trilogy comes to the Switch, but the Spyro trilogy doesn't. So that does it for characters. What about possible new modes for the Super Smash Bros. Game? Every Super Smash Bros. Release has new modes that comes along with it. So what can we expect this time around? One of the only criticisms that I've seen about Smash 4 is the fact that it doesn't have a substantial single-player campaign, and instead focuses on what makes Smash, the multiplayer. Multiplayer fun is what makes Smash Bros. One of my favorite Nintendo franchises, and it's the driving force and the focus of the game. Although I do understand the want for more single-player content, just as a diversion and just a little bit of a spice in the gameplay variety. I thought the excuse that Nintendo made for not including a adventure mode in Smash 4 was pretty ridiculous. The fact that they didn't want the cutscenes to be spoiled on the internet. Nowadays, everything is like that, so you can't really prevent it. Nintendo has to implement something like this, and whether it ends up being a full-fledged campaign like the Subspace Emissary mode from Brawl, or something akin to the adventure mode from Melee, I would still be pretty interested in how it turns out. And because they're giving Smash a lot of time, possibly even more time than just in the regular E3 presentation, maybe in the Nintendo Treehouse Live, they could show off the substantial campaign that they would presumably have made for the game. Many new features could also be introduced. I'm talking about things sort of like the 8-player Smash mode, maybe another type of fighting system that you could have implemented into the game. I always thought the idea of a tag team mode being implemented into Super Smash Bros. Would be pretty interesting, multiplayer wise anyway. Obviously, we would probably also get a release date for Super Smash Bros., a concrete date. This would just let everybody know when the game is going to come out, just a usual thing that you would expect for pretty much any game that Nintendo would talk about at a big setting like E3. What use is all this hype anyway if we don't get to know when we're going to be experiencing it on the Nintendo Switch? This E3 presentation is definitely shaping up to be a good one, especially considering this big focus on Super Smash Bros. And I, along with you, are probably looking forward to this a lot. I'm just super excited to see what's going to happen here. And I actually think that there's a bigger potential for this Nintendo E3 than many people are expecting. And as for why that is, I made an entire video about that. You can check it out, the links on the screen if you enjoyed this one. I really think you're going to enjoy that one as well. And also subscribe so you make sure you don't miss the latest uploads on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.